I'm exploring Kerala, the land of the coconut, and I'm now on the Malabar coast, home to the rich cuisine of the Mopla Muslims. We cook the finest of Mopla dishes, a fish biryani. Faiza shows me her famous stuffed chicken, and I take a trip to the Kasbahs of Malabar. Kerala, with its rich spices and coconuts, has always been a strong lure for all the European traders, the Portuguese, the Dutch and the British. But you have to travel to the north of Kerala, to the stunning Malabar coast, to get the story behind who really started this legendary spice route. It was not just the Dutch, the Portuguese and the British who came. For thousands of years it was the Greeks, the Romans and the Arabs. They were here all the time. The reason why the Portuguese came, it was because of the Arabs. They had the monopoly here. It was them who actually enticed the rest of Europe to come to these shores. It was the Arabs who were making their money. I'm being guided around Thalassery by Musa, who comes from an old Muslim family who have been trading here for over 100 years.
Yeah, Ressa, we are in a shop which is about 125 years old. It's one of the oldest spice shops in the state. And you know Thalassery is very famous for the Thalassery pepper.
Absolutely.
That is TGB, Thalassery Gabal Gold. And
God, just look at that. It still is known as the king of spice.
Yeah.
And in the old days, a sack of peppercorn used to be worth a man's life.
yeah, it's called the black gold.
The black gold.
Yes.
Look at this.
Yes.
Black gold. Better than liquid
And
gold. And do you know what? What I love about this shop, you can smell all the spices. They just fill the room with such an incredible perfume and aroma. It's really the exotic and the erotic of the East. It's a symphony of smells and it's absolutely wonderful.
Yes, so this is a souvenir for you from Thalassery.
Oh, thank you.
With love.
Oh, Musa,
Okay, right.
thank you very much.
Okay, right.
Thank you. Gosh, brilliant. A bit of Thalassery back to London. Now just look at this. Now this is the basmati rice which you see up in the Himalayas from the rivers of the Brahmaputra, from the Ganges. And this is the rice from Kerala. This is what the Mopla Muslims use here for their biryanis. So incredible. Look at the difference, the long grain and the short grain. But this is also a biryani rice too. Just look at all this wonderful variety of grain which you can get. And they're all different grades. They're parboiled, they're boiled,
raw rice, yeah.
Unpolished rice,
polished
it's
rice.
unpolished. It's just all here. This is going to be a real treat. I'm getting a masterclass with Musa's wife, who is a legendary cook specializing in Muslim food. Faiza is going to teach me how to make the famous Mopla Muslim fish biryani. Marvelous. Now what do we do now?
First we marinate the fish.
The marinade for the fish is chili powder, turmeric, garam masala and salt. Rubbing it well into the cutlets of fish, we're using sear fish, but haddock or hake would be perfect. Shallow fry the fish until it's golden brown and quite firm. Faiza, don't you think this is ready? Because I would personally take it out now.
No, the fish should be a little stiff.
It should be
Otherwise,
stiff.
Yeah.
So it'd be really firm. Won't it be a bit chewy?
No, it will turn soft later.
Would it? Oh, right, from the
With the
steam.
masala.
Right, because I think to me it's sort of overcooking. I would have still sort of kept it tender, but that's fine. I'm learning from you. You're master chef here. Drain the fish on kitchen paper and put on one side. And now for the masala. First, add some ghee or clarified butter to a deep pan. Then add the aromatic spices like cardamom pods, a piece of cinnamon and some cloves. Next, add the famous trio of chopped green chili, garlic and ginger and fry them all together. Then add fresh coriander and mint. This is essential seasoning for a biryani. Now add several chopped red onions, adding a little salt. This releases the flavour and softens the onion. And fry them until they're a nice gold colour. Faiza, I'm learning the Malabari way of cooking. That's what I love. It's a new technique. Well, it's similar. All biryanis have the same technique, but it's what you put into it and how you put it and how you do it, which actually gives it that sort of flavour to whichever region, because everyone's got their own way of cooking biryani. So I think that is why it's fascinating. It's all very interesting. So lovely. Oh, I do love it. Oh, it's fantastic. It's so nice. You've got this wonderful view. You could just lounge on that swing and just see the boats in action and the fishermen in action. It's wonderful. Oh,
Okay.
heavens. God, this is paradise lost. Right, now are we ready? Are we done?
we are ready.
Good. Now that is the onion mixture right here. Can you see that? Now that's ready, and we add chopped tomatoes. Now how many tomatoes do you
Two
add to
tomatoes.
it? So we add 2 chopped tomatoes to this, and we stir. So this
time.
for a while, so it all softens, doesn't it? It all cooks, and the tomatoes reduce. Now it's time to spice up this mixture with some hot chili powder, ground coriander and turmeric. Add salt and enough water to make a rich gravy. Bring it to the boil and let it simmer so it reduces and thickens. Let it cook slowly, because then all the flavours
Comes
out and it sort of incorporates, and it's got that lovely
Yeah.
khushbu, we say in Hindi, which is that lovely sweet scent, a symphony of scents. Now it's time to add the fried fish cutlets to this lovely rich masala sauce. We can't fiddle with it. You have to swirl it, literally, because the thing is, otherwise the fish will break, won't it? So you have to. This is so typical of a Kerala cooking. I've noticed that the earthen pots, they don't stir, they swirl. They swirl it so that all the masala sort of goes around and on over the fish too. Cover the dish to allow the fish to be infused with the masala sauce and put it on one side. Now we're going to get on with the rice. Now, do you remember while I was at the market, I showed you the difference between basmati rice and this typical Malabari rice? Now just look at this, it's tiny. But obviously we don't get that back in Britain, but we could use basmati rice, it's just as good. And I like long grain rice too, but this is true to the Malabari coast, or it's true to the Malabaris. First, heat plenty of clarified butter in the pan, add a few cardamom pods, some cloves and a piece of cinnamon. Then our heavenly trio of garlic, green chili and ginger. Lastly, some fresh coriander. Now, fry the rinsed and soaked rice in the spicy mixture and mix well. Add salt and boiling water and simmer until all the water is absorbed. The rice is ready. Just look at that. Hang on. I have to show this to you. It's beautiful. And it's lovely and separate because it's all that wonderful ghee which we put to the rice. It's perfect. Okay. Now for the moment of truth, layering the rice with this fish masala. Mix some garam masala in with some fried onion and add this to the fish mixture with some raisins and some fried cashew nuts. Now gently place the fish on the first layer of our rice mixture. It's almost like doing, when you make lasagna, it's so complicated, you always have to make layers of things, or moussaka or whatever. The same principle applies to a biryani. Then repeat the layer with more onion and masala and more rice. Now for the colour. Add some saffron water and the heavenly scent of a few drops of rose essence. Then one more layer of rice. Cover the biryani with a lid on a low heat for the flavours to combine and infuse. So the rice is absorbing all the flavours from the fish masala, and what happens, it's letting all the flavours permeate and penetrate through that rice. So you've got that wonderful fish flavour, the mint, the cardamom, all those fantastic flavours which go, it's almost like making a paella or something. You know, the Italians make risotto, the Spanish make paella, and we make biryani. Now for the tricky bit, to separate the rice from the fish mixture because you serve them separately. I love biryanis. I think they're the best sort of dish. This is ideal for people who love fish. And if you always see chicken or lamb or vegetable biryanis. And for the fishitarians, this is an ideal dish. And they can make this when they're entertaining. It is a bit, it does take a while. It is a bit sort of labor intensive, but it's worth it. Don't you think so?
Yeah.
There we go. We're done.
Now I can garnish it.
And now you garnish it. Now with the remaining onions and
A little
cashew
on
and some of those too. Ideally, a biryani is accompanied with a raita or a pickle. And a pickle. You can have raita and pickle together, but you don't need anything else. No sloppy gravies with a biryani. It does not work. And this is a true traditional Mopla Muslim Malabari biryani.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, Faiza. Brilliant. What an education. The Malabar coast is my idea of heaven. There are soft, cooling breezes blowing off the Arabian Sea. It's a perfect setting for this fine old Malabari bungalow where I'm staying as a house guest. This house has been in Musa's family for generations. It's perfectly preserved and wonderfully old-fashioned. They've changed absolutely nothing, and it's a joy to take a look around at all the family heirlooms. Did you inherit all this?
Yeah, this was all part of the house, but of course I did a lot of work on it. You just see, this is a very ancient musical box. You can call it a gramophone. This has got all the famous symphonies recorded.
Oh, I think you should have a life-size ballerina or sort of doing a pirouette or whatever, It would be perfect. This is wonderful.
This is the dining room.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
This is where we serve
I love
our
that
meals.
lamp. But who's this wonderful person?
Yeah, he's the man behind it. He is my grandfather, my mother's father, Mr. T. Musa.
So he's the man responsible.
Yes, definitely, and incidentally I'm also named after him.
Yes, you are very much. It's a very special experience staying in a private house, and I found it all enchanting. Even the way they do their laundry. Just look at this ironwala. It's absolutely perfect, the way he irons, and this is how they used to do it in the Victorian days. I bet you, if he had a modern iron and I took him back to London, I don't know what he'd do with it. I think this is so useful. He's so accustomed to this. I'm going to take him back anyway, maybe put him into an ironing competition. Who knows? While he's finishing my shirt, Faiz is going to show me another of her specialities, stuffed chicken. As the sun's setting onto this wonderful Malabar coast, I must introduce you to Musa's wonderful wife, the legendary Faiza. And Faiza and myself have been working really hard trying to get this dish together. I have to tell you, we've had this much of onions, and it's taken us about 15 to 20 minutes to cook. Now, when you cook onions, they take quite a long time, and we've had to get it to this jammy consistency. Now, what we did, we added chilies and curry leaves and onions to oil and a bit of clarified butter. So we put 2 tablespoons of clarified butter and 2 tablespoons of oil into the pan, and we fried the onions to this consistency. Now, what we did from this, we've actually divided the mixture. A third of the onions are going into the stuffing for this wonderful Malabar stuffed chicken, and 2/3 has gone into the gravy. This is going to go for the gravy. Now, Faiza, I've heard so much about this wonderful dish. We've got this to this consistency. Now, what do we do from
Now we'll add the
here?
masalas.
Now, what masalas
That
do we
is
add?
chili powder, half
Half
a
a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon of chili powder, which is about that much, yes.
coriander powder.
Coriander,
Half
how
a
much?
teaspoon.
Half a teaspoon. of coriander.
And garam masala.
Garam masala, a pinch. When you say a pinch, it's sort of a generous
Yeah.
pinch, about that sort of much, okay.
Turmeric powder.
Turmeric,
1/4 teaspoon.
a quarter
Quarter
teaspoon.
teaspoon.
Okay, we've got a bit, that should do.
Yeah.
Lovely. Now I'm going to give that a
Yes,
stir
stir it.
because the onions are frying, lovely.
Coriander leaves.
Now how much coriander leaves do you put?
About 1
I think I
tablespoon.
just put, I
Yeah.
just use my
Yeah. Yeah.
instincts really. Just, it's lovely to have quite a bit of coriander. So you fry that, lovely.
Now 1 tablespoon of raisins
Tablespoon of raisins, so that'll be enough.
Yeah.
That should all go in.
and cashew nuts.
Cashew nuts. Now this is really the stuffing
Yeah.
for the chicken.
And about 1 tablespoon of dal.
Right, this is a tablespoon of gram
Cooked dal.
which is chana dal. So that goes in to it. Lovely. That looks absolutely gorgeous, Faiza. Do we put some seasoning to this? Some
Yes,
salt?
some salt.
Lovely. I'll just use my fingers, a pinch of salt, that should do. Onions need to be cooked because they bring out the sweetness. The more you cook, the sweeter the onions. What I'm going to do, there's the other onions which are frying, so I'm just going to give that a stir. We don't want to burn those.
Now you can put off the fire.
Right, this is off. Right, so we let that
Let it cool.
cool. Okay. Now,
Now we'll do the gravy.
should we do the gravy? Lovely. Now that's frying away. It's been reduced.
Yeah.
You can see this lovely jammy consistency. It's almost like caramelized onions. It really is. It's almost like when you're making pizza alla dia with your olive oil. You know, you've got to cook it really slowly and it becomes quite jammy. It's the same sort of principle. Pfizer, I'm going to put this here to cool because there's no room on the pot. Right. Now
The onions are done.
what do we do?
Now you add the chili. 1 tablespoon of chili
Tablespoon of chili powder.
powder. 1 tablespoon of coriander.
Take that. 1 tablespoon of coriander.
Turmeric.
How much turmeric?
1/4 teaspoon. 1/4 teaspoon.
So that would be sort of that
Yeah.
much, really. It's quite windy. It's all sort of flying out. Anyway.
Aniseed powder. Half a
Aniseed,
teaspoon.
half a teaspoon, which would be about that much, really. That's got a lovely flavour. I'd like to bring out a bit more aniseed. Lovely.
Now garam masala.
Garam masala. How much of garam masala do you put? A generous pinch?
Half a teaspoon.
Half a teaspoon. So half a teaspoon of garam masala. Lovely. Stir it. Now this has to cook a bit because you want those spices to cook.
Ginger garlic.
Ginger garlic. So in goes the ginger garlic.
Salt for a few minutes.
Now you saute this for a few minutes. Right, how much water do we put, Faiza?
About 2 cups.
2 cups, which would be that much, really.
Okay. Add salt.
Salt. Just look at that consistency now. It's got a lovely colour. Now salt, I'll just use my hands. A generous pinch of salt. Just reminds me of chicken curry, which my mother tends to make. It's got that wonderful smell of the cardamom, clove, cinnamon in the garam masala with the fennel seeds. Lovely.
Can just leave it.
Now you leave it. Good.
Meantime,
Now these have cooled down,
Yeah.
and we're going to stuff the
you can
chicken,
close the
and we can cover the lid. Right, that's making the sauce. Now it's the filling. Now here's a boiled egg, which has been boiled earlier. Right, now
now. This is
a whole chicken.
Yeah.
This is a wonderful way, instead of having roast chicken, this is an alternative for sort of a pot roast chicken, really. You stuff it into the
Yeah.
cavity of the chicken.
now the egg goes in
So you put it in the center.
Yeah,
Okay,
center.
sort of in the middle. How
to
wonderful.
its original place.
Yes, in its original place. How hens lay eggs,
Yeah.
you know. Okay. So the dal also gives it a lovely texture too, with the onions. Is that right? And it's lovely, the added sweetness of the raisins and then the crunchiness of the cashew nuts.
Full.
Right,
Now,
that's filled. Okay, very good. Right, now.
now you keep it like this.
Okay, so you close it.
Yeah. Now,
Do you sew it? How do you?
yeah. There's a hole here, now. Through this.
Ah, right. You. How ingenious! I like that. It's sort of you
leg.
weave it.
This leg.
Yes. Okay, are you guys watching this? This is very interesting. Now, what do you
It's
do?
done.
Just straight into the pan?
Now straight into the pan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Put some gravy on top.
Gravy on top, which I'm going to do. Actually, if
Can
I
take
get a spoon,
spoon.
I think I need a spoon to spoon that, really. Lovely. So that's covered. Perfect, okay. So now how long do we
Now
keep
you
it
just
cooked?
leave it for
Yeah.
nearly 1 hour on a very low fire.
So you cook this for an hour on a very
Low.
low heat. Happy Ramzan
Happy-
to you.
happy
Well, we're
Ramzan.
breaking fast, as if. It is the sunset hour. The bewitching, mysterious hour. Is it not?
Yeah.
This is a time when all prayers are answered. Isn't that right? It's a very auspicious time. A time for reflection and meditation and resuscitation, to resuscitate too, you know. Now, just look at that. Just look how much it's condensed to. It's so jammy. Oh my God. It's ready. Right, let's put this on here. Oh wow.
Oh.
Gorgeous. And let's get this rich gravy.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It's beautiful. Is this how you make it, my dear? Well, now I'm getting to understand more about Mopla food. It's a different technique. Look at that. Oh, I'm going to smear it all over the chicken like that. That gives it... Oh. We need to see if it is a chicken too, don't we? Quack, 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 quack. Lovely. Off. Should we garnish this now with a bit of coriander, some raisins. A few cashew nuts. What do you think? Lovely. And a few curry leaves. What do you think? Just scattered beautifully. How's that? Faiza, that really is fit for a king, is it
Yeah.
not? And I think husband Musa will definitely enjoy that.
Yeah.
He'll say, oh, is this Faiza's cooking? Or is this Reza's cooking? You know, well, it's not my cooking. It's your cooking. No, it's you. I'm being silly.
Yeah.
And there we have the famous Malabar stuffed chicken. What do we call it in Malabar, in Malayalam?
This kori narachadu.
Kori
Nirachadu.
Nirachadi. Kori Nirachadi. And there you have it.